Hey everyone, this is Dr. Frank with Electric City Entertainment. Today we're going to try something different, something that we haven't done before. We're going to do a Let's Read. It is kind of like a Let's Play, but instead of playing a video game and talking about the video game, we are going to read something and we're going to talk about it, do a little bit of commentary during it. And for this one we have chosen a poem, and not just any poem. This is what could be argued as the worst poem ever published. I'm going to say published, not written, because I'm sure there's plenty of worse poems that were written but never published. This one was actually published, it was put out, and apparently, if you do a Google search, this is the worst poem. Now, that's a manner of interpretation. I'm sure there's lots of other bad poems, but this is the Tay Bridge Disaster. It is a poem written by William McGonagall, and it is named after the Tay Bridge Disaster, which, for those of us who don't know, I obviously did not know, I had to look this all up briefly before doing this. The Tay Bridge Disaster was a train accident, I want to say derailment, but they didn't quite know exactly what happened with it, in Scotland in the late 1800s. Basically, they had this railway that was going over very rough waters. It was built shoddily, they didn't have good engineers, they didn't plan it out properly, and then one dark and stormy night, as these things often happen during dark and stormy nights, they were letting the trains go one at a time, and all of a sudden, one of these trains that was going, it was having sparks from one of the wheels, and the lights from the train just disappeared. No more train. It was dark, they didn't know what happened, it was just train is going down the tracks, and then train is disappeared as if all of a sudden it turned into a ghost train. It was just gone. Later, when they looked into it, they saw that an entire section of the bridge had collapsed, been destroyed. There's photos of it, you just see it, perfect bridge, and then big section missing, no train. And apparently the train went off the tracks went with it, and then went into the water, and about 70-ish people died from this, so it was a significant tragedy. And they did inquiries on it, and it was kind of a big ordeal, and then afterwards, there were poems written about it, and honestly, there's more than one poem even. There's one that was written like 10 days after the tragedy happened. We're not reading that poem, we are reading the Tay Bridge Disaster poem from Mr. McGonagall, and this is known as a just terrible, terrible poem. I've looked at it a little bit. I haven't read the full poem yet, but I must say it is impressive. And we'll go over it now, and we'll really see, does this earn the title of the worst poem ever? Listen in. Let us know in the comments what you think. Is this a terrible poem? Is there worse poems? But let's try it out and kind of see, how does this stand up? Can we even call this a poem? Should this have been published? So, to begin, the Tay Bridge Disaster. Beautiful railway bridge over the silvery Tay. Alas, I am very sorry to say. Okay, it starts off like a little bit like Dr. Seuss. That 90 lives have been taken away, and we're going very strong with the A's, on the last Sabbath day of 1879. That is one line. The rhyme is in the middle of the line, which is an interesting choice. On the last Sabbath day of 1879, which will be remembered for a very long time. No rhyme there. 79 time? Maybe, if you stretch it. 'Twas about 7 o'clock at night, and the wind it blew with all its might, and the rain came pouring down, and the dark cloud seemed to frown, and the demon of the air seemed to say, I'll blow down that bridge of Tay. It keeps changing, each line keeps changing the length that it is. Like, maybe I'm reading it wrong, but the syllables keep seeming like it just jumps around how many we're gonna pick. When the train left Edinburgh, the passengers' hearts were light and felt no sorrow. That was a very long line. But Boreas blew a terrific gale, which made their hearts for to quail, and many of the passengers with fear did say, I hope God will send us safe across the bridge of Tay. Okay. But when the train came near to Warmit Bay, Boreas he did not loud and angry bray, and shook the central girders of the bridge of Tay, and on the last Sabbath day of 1879, which will be remembered for a very long time. I see what they're trying to do after the second time reading it. I think they're trying to rhyme day, Tay, and 9 with time, but it's a big stretch. And they keep switching the length of these lines. So the train sped up sped on. So the train sped on with all its might, and Bonnie Dundee soon hove in sight. I've never heard the word hove. Soon hove in sight, and the passenger's heart felt light, thinking they would enjoy themselves on the new year, and we're moving away from light. Did we do that before, where we switched 3 rhymes and 3 rhymes? Sorry, I'm getting distracted, but it was might, sight, light, and now we're going to year. Thinking they would enjoy themselves on the new year, with their friends at home they loved most dear, and wish them all a happy new... We rhymed year and year. Happy new year. Oh, we're already getting lazy. If he rhymes girl with world, I'm gonna be pissed. So the train moved with apostrophe D slowly along the bridge of Tay until it was about midway, and then the central girders with a crash gave way, and down went the train and passengers into the Tay. That was a very long line to get to, and then we rhymed Tay with way and Tay again. We're getting, and way with way. There was Tay, way, Tay on those lines, and oh my god, we're still going with the A's. Next line. The storm fiend did loudly bray. He likes the word bray. And just A's. This is the second time we've done A's, right? We did Warmit Bay, Bridge of Tay, 79. Sorry. Wish the Happy New Year. So the train moved slowly along the Bridge of Tay until it was about midway. Then the central girders gave a crash gave way, and down went the train and passengers into the Tay. The storm fiend, with capital storm, capital fiend, did loudly bray, loves bray, because 90 lives had been taken away on the last Sabbath day of 1879, which will be remembered for a very long time. And obviously everybody remembers the last Sabbath day of 1879. This is like the 5th of November. Remember the last Sabbath day of 1879? As soon as the catastrophe came to be known, the alarm from mouth to mouth was blown. People, okay. I guess, do you blow alarms from your mouth? I guess if you have a whistle. The alarm from mouth to mouth was blown, and the cry rang out all o'er the town. Good heavens, the Tay Bridge is blown down. Why do you put blown down? The Tay Bridge is down would have fit, and it would have fit the line. Like, you could have been, and the cry rang out all over the town. Good heavens, the Tay Bridge is down. That maybe is blown down. It sounds... I don't know why we're putting all these syllables in, because we're not matching syllables, and it sounds like we're trying to, well, I don't think it'd make a difference. I think it would be bad either way. Good heavens, the Tay Bridge is blown down versus good heavens, the Tay Bridge is down. And a passenger train from Edinburgh... Oh, we're gonna rhyme burrow with sorrow again. And a passenger train from Edinburgh, which filled all the people's hearts with sorrow, and made them for a turn pale, because none of the passengers were saved to tell the tale. It's like someone just made this up on the spot, and then forgot how many syllables they were trying to do in each line, and then was like, I gotta get this rhyme out, but, we've got 4 more words to make a sentence. And made them for to turn pale, because none of the passengers were safe to tell the tale. How the disaster happened on the last Sabbath day of 1879, which will be remembered for a very long time. I would repeat those 2 lines if they were a good rhyme, but they're not a good rhyme. Why do you keep repeating them? It must have been an awful sight to witness in the dusky moonlight, while the storm fiend did laugh and angry did bray. He loves saying bray. Along the railway bridge of the Silvery Tay. Oh, ill-fated bridge of the Silvery Tay. I must now conclude my lay. Oh, I'm sorry, that's just painful. By telling the world fearlessly without the least dismay, that your central girders would not have given way, at least many sensible men do say, had they been supported on each side with buttresses, that... Oh, we switched from A's. That was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 A's, and now we're going to uttresses as a rhyme, which is always fun to rhyme. Had they been supported on each side with buttresses, at least many sensible men confesses... For the stronger we our houses do build, the less chance we have of being killed. At least it ends on a strong rhyme. That is the strongest rhyme of the entire poem. For the stronger we our houses do build, the less chance we have of being killed. It still seems a little off with the syllables, but that at least is a strong finish. This was rough. I would say It seems like someone's first attempt at a poem, and this person I know has written poetry before. I don't think this is his first poem ever. And it's just, he's jumping all over. I would say if you're doing it like this, either just do it as prose, or just figure out some sort of rhyming scheme. Usually, the most thing I care about, does it just sound good? I don't really care too much of, are you following all the rules? Are you, doing proper poetry? I don't care about proper. I care, does it sound good? And this poem, it sounds as disjointed as that train going over the edge. I'm sorry, that's crass and rude. I hope there's no survivors of this terrible crash listening. But it's just so disjointed. That's the biggest thing I can say about it. It goes all over the place with how many syllables it's trying to go in. It's very weird rhymes. Lots of a, like simple rhymes that you would think if it's that simple of an ending, you'd want a 2 syllables rhyming. Away, astray, something where at least the syllables like sound good together, but it feels very either sloppy, lazy, or I also feel with this poem, it seems like we're trying to, like, squeeze in facts. Like, why are we trying to care so much about putting facts into the poem, make the poem sound good? You can, this is why there's artistic license. You want it to sound better. You don't necessarily need to just you're not making, a retelling of it. This isn't fiction. I mean, this is fiction based on nonfiction. But you're allowed to take some, liberties with it. This seems like this poem was just made overly factual, like we need to get these points in. Like, I would say maybe if we had a oral retelling of history and this is our only way of remembering the facts of this train disaster, okay, maybe, but we don't need that. We want something artistic. You want something to memorialize the accident. You want something that people will remember to enjoy. And this is just, I would say this poem is as bad as the train accident. I mean, I would say it's ironic that the poem is this bad. It is just as tragic as that accident, this poem. I don't know. I think there can be worse poems out here. This is a rough poem, but I wouldn't be surprised if we could find worse. Let me know what you all think. Have you heard worse poems? Do you have a poem in mind that is worse? If you have one, especially if it's in the public domain, let us know. Maybe we'll do that. We'll maybe even look at some other writing. Let me know if you want to do good writing, bad writing, somewhere in between, a mix. And then if you like this format, we'll keep doing it because, honestly, this isn't a very difficult format to do, and we'll love to put out more content for you all. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you next time with a Let's Read. This is Dr. Frank with Electric City Entertainment, signing off.